I thought I knew my wife better than anyone. We had been married for 12 years. No secrets, no lies. At least, that's what I believed. Until one text message appeared on her phone while she was making dinner. It wasn't even the message itself that terrified me. It was her reaction. The second she saw the screen, all the color drained from her face. And that's when I realized our marriage had been built on something I never understood. But I had no idea what I was about to uncover.
The notification disappeared almost instantly. She grabbed her phone so fast it looked automatic, like she'd practiced it. "Just work," she said before I even asked. But something didn't feel right. Why was her hand shaking? Why wouldn't she look me in the eye? Maybe I was overthinking everything. Or maybe my instincts were trying to warn me. That night, sleep never came. She usually left her phone charging beside the bed. Not anymore. Now it stayed tucked under her pillow. Who sleeps with their phone like that? Every little change suddenly felt enormous. Had I been ignoring the signs for months? Or was I finally seeing the truth? The answers were closer than I imagined.
The next morning, she smiled like nothing had happened. Coffee, breakfast, small talk. Everything looked perfectly normal. But perfect can be the most dangerous disguise. If you've ever had a moment where your instincts told you something wasn't right, hit like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who loves shocking mysteries. Because what happened next changed everything. For 3 days, the messages kept coming. Always the same pattern. Buzz, quick glance, panic, then silence. She never replied in front of me. Not once. Who was sending these messages? And why did they seem to control her emotions? I couldn't ignore it anymore. I finally checked the phone bill. One number appeared over and over again. Hundreds of texts, late nights, early mornings, even during our anniversary dinner. My stomach dropped. I copied the number onto a piece of paper. I was finally getting closer. Or so I thought. I called the number from my office, straight to voicemail. No name, no greeting, just silence. A few minutes later, my wife called me. "Did you just call someone?" I never told her. So, how did she know? That question changed everything. She claimed the phone company must have notified her. That didn't make any sense. Why would they? She laughed it off. I pretended to believe her. Inside, every alarm bell was screaming. The lies were becoming impossible to ignore, but I still wasn't prepared for the first twist. That weekend, I followed her. She drove across town, past the shopping district, past her gym. She stopped outside a small apartment building. A man walked outside. He hugged her, not for a second, for nearly a minute. My heart shattered. But what happened next made even less sense. She handed him an envelope. No kiss, no romance, just tears. Then she drove away. Who was he? A lover? A brother? Someone from her past? Nothing fit together. The mystery only grew deeper. I hired a private investigator. Within 48 hours, he called. I found the man. I expected the worst. Instead, he said the man had no criminal record, no history with my wife. At least, not officially. That single word haunted me. The investigator uncovered something strange. The apartment wasn't even his. He only visited twice a month. Someone else paid the rent. Someone who used fake identities. Why hide something so ordinary? Unless nothing about this was ordinary. Then, another text appeared. This time, I saw part of it. Don't tell him yet. Only 4 words, but they echoed inside my head. Don't tell me what? Was everyone hiding something from me? The answer arrived sooner than expected. I confronted her. She didn't deny the messages. She didn't deny meeting the man. Instead, she asked one question. If I tell you everything, will you stay? I've never been more afraid of an answer, because sometimes the truth is worse than betrayal. She opened an old wooden box. Inside were photographs I'd never seen, letters, medical records, birth certificates. None of them made sense, until I noticed one familiar date, our wedding day. Everything connected in a way I never imagined. And then came twist number 1. The man wasn't her boyfriend. He was her biological brother. A brother she'd only discovered 6 months earlier through a DNA test. She'd spent years believing she was an only child. I should have felt relieved. Instead, one question remained. Why keep him secret? The real reason was devastating. Her brother was dying. A rare illness. No treatment. Very little time left. She'd been helping him financially, secretly. She didn't want me to carry the burden. It sounded believable. Too believable. Because one detail still didn't fit. The investigator called again. There was another visitor. A woman. Older. She stayed for hours. She looked strangely familiar. When he sent me the photo, I nearly dropped my phone. It was my mother. Nothing made sense anymore. I confronted my mother. She burst into tears before I spoke. Then she admitted something she'd hidden for 35 years. The man wasn't only my wife's brother. He was mine too. We shared the same father. My entire family history collapsed in seconds. But that wasn't the biggest shock. Twist number 2 hit harder than anything before. My father had known. For decades, he secretly supported both families, 2 homes, 2 sets of children, one enormous lie. The text messages weren't about cheating. They were about protecting a secret that should have died long ago. Or so I believed. Days later, another message appeared. Not on my wife's phone, on mine. It simply read, "There's still one person who doesn't know." No name, no number, just those words. Who was left? And why contact me now? The nightmare wasn't over. I traced the message. Impossible. It came from a disposable phone. The same type linked to the mystery apartment. Someone was watching us. Someone knew every conversation, every decision, every secret. But who could possibly know that much? The answer was waiting at home. When I walked inside, the wooden box was gone. Every photograph, every document, every letter vanished. Only one envelope remained. My name was written across the front. Inside, a handwritten sentence. "You've only learned half the story." My blood ran cold. Twist number 3 changed everything again. The DNA reports had been altered. Someone forged them. Someone wanted us to believe we were connected. But why? Who benefits from destroying an entire family? Nothing felt real anymore. The final truth was still hidden. The investigator finally uncovered the mastermind. It wasn't my wife. It wasn't my father. It wasn't my mother. It was the family attorney. For years, he'd manipulated inheritances, identities, and records to hide millions of dollars in stolen assets.
Every lie pointed back to him. But one mystery still refused to die.
The first text message wasn't meant for my wife. It was meant for me. She grabbed the phone before I saw it because she thought protecting me would save our marriage. Instead, that decision destroyed the trust between us. Sometimes love hides the truth, and sometimes the truth destroys love anyway. Our marriage survived, but it never returned to what it once was. Even today, whenever my phone vibrates unexpectedly, I freeze for a moment because I remember how one ordinary notification unraveled an entire lifetime of lies. But here's the question that still keeps me awake. Who sent the very first message, and why have they never been found?